And what we know as integrative health professionals, when you improve in one area, the other areas will start moving towards improvement. So now you have some motivation because you start seeing health.
We can use this tool on anything, right? It's not just for nutrition.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We're trying to create new behaviors, and it has to be sustainable and really achievable. We want to do what we say we're going to do. And if it's too much, or if it's too hard, or it's too complicated, we're not going to do it.
When you look at other people in the world that are the most successful or the healthiest or the best looking or whatever it is, this is what they're doing.
If somebody is not moving their body right now and they don't know where to start, I say,
Today, I am introducing Kathleen Klug, a fitness, health, and wellness professional with over 40 years of experience as an Institute of Integrated Nutrition holistic health coach and author of Start With One. She's committed to empowering individuals to achieve optimal health and vitality through personalized coaching and holistic lifestyle changes. Welcome, Kathleen.
thank you, Jessica. Thank you for having me.
Of course, I'm happy to have you here. And I want to know first off, why health? What started your journey in the holistic health world?
I entered the health and fitness world back in the 80s, early 80s, when I started working for Jack LaLanne's, do you know Jack LaLanne?
I'm not familiar.
Okay, he's an icon. I'll just say that. He's an icon of the business. He was talking about integrative health before anybody else was, but he had a show on, a daily show with him and his wife. Truly icons, and he had a series of gems. And I started working at one in the early 80s and found myself just moving in that field of health, group exercise, personal training. When it got into the integration, and then also in there got a degree in addiction studies and working with people, bringing more awareness into mindset, soul set, as I call it, and of course our tool sets for the practical ways to get healthy. I just saw and witnessed that the integration of our body, mind, and spirit was really necessary for true whole health. So this is also where my book came from. I've read a lot of books on habit change and behavior change, and I'm a health educator at a medical group here. We teach people to do things different, but I felt that besides a really good solid tool set for the how-to make change, we needed to identify a mindset that was either going to move us in that direction or that was creating barriers and obstacles for us to move in that direction, and then the soul set so that we even felt worthy of creating and maintaining and sustaining these changes. So the integration of body, mind, and spirit is necessary for sustainable, healthy, whole health.
What are some of the common barriers that people face when trying to make sustainable lifestyle changes for better health?
I think there's many. What I do is I start with the why. Why do you want to create better health? For some people, it could be getting off medication. It could be that they just simply do not feel good. It could be that they're in pain. And somehow they're identifying finally that they're not a victim of a system rather, but they need to step up and it's them. And actually they realize, okay, I can do something. So they have a why. And then it's like, what do I need to do? What do I need to do? Because I want to stop because of this reason. What do I need to do? And so, or what do I want? What does this even look like? What does health look like to me? Getting off my medication, being able to sit down with my kids or grandkids, being able to travel or climb a mountain or whatever the case might be. What do they even want? And then it's the how. So how do you do this? It's the system behind it. So barriers can be in any of those. It can be in they're not clear about like their pain rather, and there is not yet greater than what they need to do, right? So what they're doing, their addiction, whether they're using drugs, alcohol, food, bad relationships, whatever, wherever they're stuck, it's not as or it's still as greater than the why they would want to get healthy, right? And that sticks a lot of people. They're making excuses for why they're in a place. They're just not quite ready to change. It could also be their what, like they had never imagined themselves in a healthier state, or really being able, they don't believe in their mind, they don't believe in their soul that they can do something, or they're worth doing something. Or so there might be a lot of negative self-talk of, I can't, this is so hard, this isn't for me, other people, are lucky, I'm unlucky, whatever their story is, that can be definitely a barrier, a huge barrier. I think that's where most of the barriers are, is in this mindset. And then we get to the soul set of their worth. They don't feel worthy, and they see the world in a way that they respond in this unworthiness all the time. And so that could be also a barrier. And then of course they don't know how. Even if they know what they want, even if they know why, they don't know how. So it could be a systems issue. They don't know how to eat better. They don't even know where to start, getting emotional health or physical health. So barriers can be anywhere along the way. I name my book Start With One, because I do work with so many people, and it can be overwhelming when somebody is saying, okay, I'm realizing I need to do something and I'm ready, but I don't know where to start because I have so many issues. And so it's like, okay, we do an assessment tool, and then we start with one thing. And what we know as integrative health professionals, that when you improve in one area, the other areas will start moving towards improvement. And so now you have some motivation because you start seeing health being created in different areas. So that's how it starts, and it can be really simple. I get being overwhelmed. Even being overwhelmed is a barrier.
Mm. Like frozen,
Frozen. I don't know where to start.
right? I want to go back to when you said that sometimes the pain isn't great enough. Do you think that some people, or maybe all people, need to hit their own personal rock bottom in order to seek that better health or that better version?
I think that not everybody does. No, I think that we have different personalities. I think if we're learning so much about the brain, and we can see activity in our brain with different personalities, different tendencies, with addiction, with obsessive disorders. We see different parts of the brain being stimulated in some and not the other. So I think that it really, sometimes we think, oh, it's a moral thing, or you're not strong, or you're weak, or you're impaired in somehow. But I think it's a complicated issue. I think it comes to brain health, brain activity, predisposition to certain physiological issues. And then of course, it's childhood issues and stuck energy and stuck resentment and unforgiveness and those messages of we can or we can't that we've believed. So I think that some people do have to hit a pretty low place in order to say, uncle, okay, I get it. Okay, I need help. Some people will die before they hit that place. So yes, that's the extreme. And then other people, no, they don't. They have some awareness and they go, huh, I'm realizing this. I'm going to change it. And they do. So it's a range, and it's a complicated reason, but I do think it's a both. It's a physiological thing, it's a psychological thing, it's has to do with childhood, so it can be complicated. I think we're learning more about ways to treat people differently, which is really nice. Like it's not one size fits all. Not certainly even just in the psychology of it, but literally the physiology of like what is going on in your brain, and how do we then learn to stimulate or treat or respond, have you respond differently. So yeah, it's complicated, but people have different, I suppose, bottoms, and some people do not have to even go to that place. It's probably rare.
Mm, right. I mean, personally, I had to hit bottom a couple of times.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I don't know about your personal story, but as far as going in the direction of health, did you have your own health issues?
I did not. I did not. So can I ask you how you felt about this process of hitting bottom and what that was and how you relate to it, and the idea of pain and then saying, okay, it's time?
Yeah. Oh, see, this is part of why I asked the question. I get curious because of my own experience, if others have had the same, because for me, just to reiterate what you said to start with the why and to take responsibility, basically don't play the victim, figure out what you want, how you'll get there. For me, it was the underlying feelings that you're talking about, the beliefs in myself that stem back from, I'm sure, early childhood, which I like to think are 95% clear now that I have become aware of them and done the inner work. Uh, but it was those suppressed in my body as my belief and ended up manifesting as physical issues. And I mean, whether that was guilt, shame, hatred towards myself, all of these things. And from my perspective, I'm not sure how much was mine and how much was passed on to me, because like you mentioned in passing, that sometimes we may die in this lifetime without ever having let go of those things.
Mhm.
So I feel like, and this is just from my understanding and my teachings or my learnings, I guess, that when we do die with those, that they are passed on. What are your thoughts?
Well, I think that what we have found, and maybe I really don't have a thought as far as what you're saying, on and off it, but I will say what we are finding is like even in utero, they they can they have traced back trauma to this, these unborn babies. So I mean, however
Wow.
far back you want to go, you can go back, but we can identify that now. I mean, I know that there's a lot of science in that too, and we know that a mother who is carrying a baby, if she's experiencing trauma, then this is also passed on to the unborn baby. So this trauma, is it in the moment or is it from the past? Or but it's a trauma state, right?
Mm,
And what we know about trauma is, one, it gets stuck in the body.
mm,
We also know it creates chemicals in our body. And so this is the environment that the unborn baby is becoming, is growing in. I think it's probably most of us, I mean, we all are flawed people. I think our journey is to learn, to expand, to grow, to become. Are we that when we are 20s, 30s, and whatever, 40s, having children. I don't know. I mean, I'm 60. I know I'm growing every day and I'm learning more. So when I was 32 having my first baby, was I? No, my kids will tell you, no. I mean, so you can even go back further, certainly with what you're saying. But I just think that what we know is that we pass on things, certainly in this life, and pass in other lives, it's very possible. I mean, anything is possible. So this is our human state.
I just have to throw in here how inspired I am by you. Just the fact that you are 60 and just everything you're doing. The book, especially, which I want to go into now, but I did see several clips of you walking with a 20-pound vest on. Incredible, very inspiring, like I said. Let's talk about your book a little more. Start with one. And let's say that there are those people that just don't know how. That's their barrier. What's their one? What do they start with?
Yes. So let's assume they have their why. And then let's assume they have their what they want to create for themselves. Now that is work in itself, because the what that you want to create is, talk about mindset, talk about envisioning, talk about imagination. They want something that they do not have physically in the moment. So they must then use this imagination, this faith in themselves, in the process, that they are in that process of becoming that. So that's a whole process in itself. So now it's the how, though. They want it, they know what it looks like. How do you start? So in my book, I talk about the get in gear skills. And the GEAR is an acronym for set a goal for G, arrange your environment, like get your environment down, design your environment. A is ask for the help and the support you need. And then R is for reward yourself. And I'll briefly go over those. So somebody has their why, they know what they want to create. So first of all, there's an energy already going, because when you have that, there's energy going. Now we also know that this energy can fade. It can be called motivation or inspiration or whatever it might be, but there is an energy to it. I would say, one, you got to keep feeding that. You got to keep feeding that vision, so you continue to keep your inspiration, your motivation, and then you can then work on the discipline. Sometimes you'll need discipline because you don't have the motivation and you don't have the inspiration, but this is something that grows the more you use it. So you know what you want. You start with a goal. Okay, you know the area that you're going to start with. Let's figure you've already done an assessment and you're like, I need to eat better. That's my one thing right now. Okay. What we know is that when you eat better, you think better, you feel better, you look better, you have more energy, you sleep better, everything. So, but all we're going to do is focus on eating better. What does that look like?
I don't want to interrupt you, but I just want to clarify that we can use this tool on anything, right? It's not just for nutrition.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. In fact, on my integrative life circle, I have all these different areas, body, mind, and spirit, that identifies them. Actually, that is on my website too. So it's on Kathleen Klug book /resources. And it's the life circle, which is the personal assessment tool, and the get in gear skills lined out. So people can download that for free. So yes, these are tools for any behavior change. This is the how-to for creating what you want. So, okay, we got to eat better. What does that look like? Depends on where one is. You start where you are and you start small, because this must be achievable. We're trying to create new behaviors, and it has to be sustainable and really achievable. There's no use in saying something that you're going to do something and then not doing it again. Because this leads us to not trusting what we say we're going to do. And this is a huge thing. we have to undo some bad habits often. Certainly around our thinking, we can get into thinking habits like, this is so hard. Oh my gosh, I don't know if I can do it. Oh, it's so early, you know, and we can set ourselves up. We want to have to get conditioned out of those. And also the pattern of saying something and then not doing it. You know, because we don't even believe it. We don't trust. We don't have trust in ourselves. We can say, I'm going to climb, you know, this highest mountain. It's not going to happen. I'm going to drink 3 glasses of water a day. It's not going to happen. We don't have the trust. We just kind of talk. So we want to get back to trusting ourselves and trusting what we say. So the goals that we design for this behavior, in this case, the goal is a behavior goal. It's not the vision that we want to create for ourselves. It is actually, what do I do today? Because when we take care of today, tomorrow, the next day, we start building up towards that goal. The goal is just a result, really. You know, our vision is just a result of us sticking with our daily goals. So it has to be really achievable and attainable, or we won't do it. And we want to do what we say we're going to do. And if it's too much, or if it's too hard, or it's too complicated, we're not going to do it. So it has to be so simple. We say, reduce it to the ridiculous. It has to be very simple. For some people, it might be eating an apple a day. Okay, maybe 3 times a week, eat 1 apple. That really might be it. Or drink 2 glasses of water. If they're not drinking any water, then 2 glasses is more than they're drinking. And they think, oh, that's so small, it's ridiculous. Well, then do it. If it's so ridiculous, do it, and do it consistently. And they do it, and they do it, and then, oh, I forgot my water. Why did you forget your water? I didn't have my water bottle. Okay, get your water bottle. Keep practicing. It seems so small and ridiculous, but it's rewiring their brain for a new behavior, to learn how to actually create new behavior, and to trust what they say. So wherever one might be, it might be eating. I just taught a class on whole eating in the medical group, and I know kind of where they're at, because they're all in this program. And so, but it might be 1 homemade meal a week, 1 whole food meal a week. Now, if someone's already eating, you know, a whole food meal a day, then it would be 2, or add another one 3 times a week. So it's wherever you are, just start small. So that's the goal, that's the target. Now, if your goal or your vision is around wanting more joy in your life, or friendship, or better relationship with your partner, or a better job, you would use the same idea. What can you do today? Can you write a letter to somebody of love or forgiveness? Can you set up a date with your spouse? Can you put or a resume together? What can you do today? So that's the idea of goal. It's a behavior. Then the next one is E, which is environment. Arrange your environment to support your goal. So getting back to the food, if you're going to eat better, an environmental change might be, 1, getting rid of food that is really tempting for you in the house. It might certainly is getting food in the house that you want to eat, and have it ready and available. And, you know, it's not like hidden in the back of the crisper, you know, that apple, right? Apple a day is not like hidden. It's actually right there. It might be on the counter. It might be, you see it every time you open. So it's about creating the environment. If it's about exercise, you want to have your clothes ready, or you want to get your partner that you're going to walk with connected. If it's about, you know, going out on a date, it's about having a reservation, getting your reservation for dinner, or movie tickets, or, you know, your outfit that you're going to wear. But it's about creating the outside environment that supports the behavior. And then the next one is ask for help, ask for support, because we're always better with support. We're better with accountability. And there we can use people for encouragement when we need it, for motivation, for just recognition that we're doing a good job. Sometimes it's the smallest little things. And like, do you see me? I'm trying. Yes, you're doing amazing. It can be the person to walk with. It can be, whatever kind of support one needs. And this sounds kind of obvious, I suppose, but asking for support can be tricky sometimes for lots of different reasons. Sometimes we also assume that the people closest in our house or in our life are the obvious ones, and they may not be. They may actually be our saboteurs. So what does that look like? We have to identify, one, what kind of support is helpful to me? What does that look like? Is it someone to talk to when I'm feeling this, or this? Is it someone to walk with? What to get me outside to exercise? Is it someone who checks in with me once a day or every other day to say, hey, how you doing on your goals, or whatever the case may be? It can look like different things, but that connects us to, like, am I worthy asking, like bothering somebody? I don't want to bother people. This is sometimes, these are issues that can come up when we think about asking for help,
Mhm.
right? So this can be a little complicated, but it's worth the effort to reach out. It might be a coach. It might be a counselor. It might be a group of people in the community that's going through. It might be a group of people online. If it's not in your house or in your close circles, then you have to reach out, and you got to get creative. But you got to identify what you need, what that looks like, and then who could that person be? And because if we don't do that, and we don't get the support that we need, it's hard. It's hard. So it's a skill that we can develop, and it's worth working on.
Mhm.
And then the last one is reward, for the getting gear, GEAR. Reward is so important. This is also where we rewire our brain and our neural pathways. Our behavior is always about a reward. It's, the hot cup of coffee in the morning was about a reward. The brushing our teeth, oh, that feels good. That's a reward. Everything we do is a reward. The eating the bag of chips in front of the TV is a reward. Or the feeling at grabbing the ice cream when you're lonely is a reward, or grabbing the drink, the cocktail, or the person. These are all rewards. And if we understand that we're always seeking a reward, and that our behavior that is rewarded will be repeated, and if we understand this, then we can create our own rewards with intention, with awareness, so we can tell our mind and our body, I want to keep doing this. And there's a reward. And it's not an accidental, unconscious reward. It's a reward that I've actually put into place. So it could be as small as a check mark on the calendar. I did my goal, check. Yeah, that feels good. It's a little star. People will literally go get stickers, adults, because just like for kids, it worked. It could be a high five from a friend, or a thumbs up on a text. I did it. Yes. One gal, she's a friend on Instagram, and she's decided she is going to start moving, and she's doing a video every day, just like a few second video. I'm walking today. if she does that on a repetitive basis, she's gonna not wanna not do it. You know, she's teaching her body, I do this, I send it out, and there's accountability just simply with that. And it's the reward in itself that she's completed all these days. So if you connect a reward, and again, it's very personal, it should also be immediate. These rewards are an acknowledgement and a celebration of what you have done, and it should be immediate. So we connect it in our brain, just like you would, you know, you say, train your dog, come here. You don't say, I'm going to give you a treat, you know, later tonight. You give it to them right then. And then they know, when I come, I get a treat. When I come, I get a treat. Same with us. When I do this activity, I feel good. This feels good. This feels good. This feels good. And then we can start creating these new neural pathways. And so it's with awareness though. So those are the how-tos of the getting gear skills. Yeah.
Yeah, those were fantastic. I feel like that in and of itself could be a book. I want to go back all the way to goal, the G, because this is something I talk about so much. So I'm so happy that this is coming up. The small and achievable goals. If they're not, then like you said, it's not going to happen, and then you're going to lose trust in yourself. So something I always say is baby steps. So while you're talking, I thought of the analogy of, you know, a literal baby, and that's where the term comes from, baby steps, because when a baby learns to walk, it doesn't go from crawling to walking. It just tries to stand up. And it might do that for a while before it actually ever stands up, and then it takes a step. It doesn't go from crawling to, okay, I'm going to walk around the room tomorrow. And could you imagine if the baby had that thought, okay, I'm going to walk around the room tomorrow, and then it didn't do it, and then it's just going to crawl forever because it, you know, it gave up? I mean, yeah, we have to. And I feel like the reason why a lot of people will set these outrageous goals is because they compare themselves to others, and they think, I want to be there. What do I have to do to get there? Okay, I'm going to do it. And then they can't sustain it. They can't. And then that's it. So going back to the trusting yourself, if you don't trust yourself, it's impossible for you to trust others. So it also hurts the relationships in your life.
Yeah. What a good connection with the baby steps. And what compassion and excitement we have when a baby stands up. Oh my gosh, look, get the camera out. Look at it standing. Oh my gosh, you took 2 steps. Yeah, you celebrate it.
Mm-hmm.
But do we do that for us?
Right.
And then when the baby falls, you still, yay, you clap, and oh, wasn't that good? When we fall, we start shaming ourselves.
Yeah.
So yes, we need to have that compassion, that self-compassion, and know that it's all part of the journey. Actually, falling, going off, drifting, whatever you want to call it, is to be expected. And if we know that, I think it's easier. We know that.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. But wouldn't it be nice if we treated ourselves and just celebrated those couple steps and went, we fell, huh? Okay. Well, that was interesting. What do I need to support that? Oh yeah, I didn't prepare my food, or I didn't check in and confirm with my friend about walking this week, or whatever. And we go, oh yeah, okay, I need to cinch that in a little bit. But instead of all or nothing, and this is where the danger comes in, is, I didn't do it. See, I knew I couldn't do this.
Oh yeah.
All or nothing. And that's where people quit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you definitely had me on environment. This is actually a current thing. I just want to voice, I am also an IIN graduate. I'm in the health coaching space, and I do not have it all together. So the environment piece, getting the foods out that you don't want to eat, that are tempting, you want to set up your environment for the outcome that you want to achieve. And they make so many really great, healthy, processed food snacks these days.
Mm.
And they might have the cleanest ingredients, but my body still doesn't really love them. And I know this, but I always think, well, this one could be different. And yeah, so that's that's something I'm currently working through myself, is optimizing my environment when it comes to the food. But like you said, with the other areas, as far as putting your workout clothes out or having your water bottle ready, I mean, those are huge. And I do that myself. And it's like when you look at when you look at other people in the world that are the most successful or the healthiest or the best looking or whatever it is, that this is what they're doing. And there's no real secret. Like, this is the secret.
Mhm. Great point. The environment is huge, and the example of a water bottle, if you are going out and about for your day and you have your water bottle full of water, maybe a little lemon in it, a little mint, what, something, whatever you want,
Hmm.
you're going to drink your water more than likely.
Mhm.
Well, you certainly have an opportunity to. If you don't have your water bottle with you, you have no opportunity to do it. You have no opportunity to even have an option. So that's a strict environmental thing,
Mhm.
right? And it can give you those options. And we are all works in progress. And I eat and I do and I think today differently than I did 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20. And I shop differently. I eat differently. I see things differently. So, you know, as people who are on a path and a willingness with awareness to grow, to change, to become healthier, that's our journey. It's I don't know about arriving. I don't know what even arriving looks like,
Uh-huh.
it's just about it's about just, hey, I'm so grateful I have awareness. I have awareness and desire to grow and to change and to get healthier and to become. And so I am moving in that direction. and and then one day I won't, and I don't know. Is that arriving? I don't know, but I know that I will present differently in 5 years than I do now. Heck, I'll do it, present differently tomorrow. So we're all works in progress. That is really my point. And my book, when I got this vision for my book, I understand there's a lot of stuff about habits and behavior change. I do think it's a very complicated thing because there's so much in our behavior, and it goes back to childhood. So much of it does. Patterns of thinking, patterns of belief, and talk about adopting from family and culture. We don't even, they're unconscious. Most of those are completely unconscious. So here we are trying to change the end result, which is a behavior, when upstream you have these sabotaging, dark disbelief, all these behavior or these beliefs and thinking that are driving our behavior. And all we're going to do is think about, how can we stop this? So we know we have to go upstream. So it's complicated. But one of my main goals in writing was start with one, was to make sure that the idea of grace towards ourselves, the idea of self-kindness, was infused, because this is a journey that can be complicated and challenging, but it's worth it. But it just takes a lot of grace to get up, like from the baby, right? It takes grace and kindness to say, oh, I just fell, it's okay, I'm gonna get up. And we have to practice that over and over and over and over and over again. And I really felt, honestly, that I didn't want or need to write another book about behavior change. I wanted to write about how to do this with grace.
Mm.
So that was my goal.
I love how you said that there is no end. There is no, basically there's no trophy. There's nothing to get at the end of this. Like, we're in it. This is life. This is all of the experiences. It's happening right now. And just like we celebrate the baby, we should be celebrating ourselves every single step of the way. And
You know, when you were saying about when we don't have trust for ourselves, we don't, it's very hard to have it for others. When you were talking about celebrating, when we can celebrate ourselves, we can celebrate others.
yes.
And this changes everything because we are different. And if you want to talk about, you know, our actions and then our reactions and this energy exchange of this, right? When we celebrate others in response to what's inside of us, because everything that, you know, everything we do is a response to what's going on inside of us, right? Our fear, our disbelief, whatever it's um, our jealousy or whatever it might be. And when we can celebrate others, it's a beautiful sign that we can celebrate ourselves. And then here's this, you see what we're giving them? It's like this beautiful cycle of love and faith. I believe in you. I celebrate you. And we do that when much better when we can do it for ourselves, because what we put out is an extension of what we have. We give what we have. We don't give out of what we don't have. So as we do this work, we can celebrate other people truly. And then this is the energy that we put out, and it's real, and it's so loving and full of joy and acceptance. Talk about acceptance, you know. And this has been a big journey for me of acceptance, and I've witnessed it in myself, my journey of self-acceptance. But I also see it how it changes how I accept other people. Wherever they are in their life, wherever their struggles are, whatever their repeated bad behaviors are. And, you know, I mean, there's always consequences for that, but that's their consequence. But I still can love them and accept them where they are. And I know that's just a reflection of my own work.
Yes. Yes, I can relate to that so much. I actually just posted something about this today because this morning I woke up and I'm looking at myself in the mirror, and I just, started giving myself a hug and telling my body how much I love it for everything it does for me and all of these things. And then I reflected on how, like, wow, because you don't take the time usually to pause and think of where you were and where you are now. But I used to stand there and pick myself apart at any moment, anytime I saw my reflection. Like, why couldn't this be different, or why can't I look like this person? And it's just now, it's not even about the appearance or how I look. It's about our bodies are so incredible. The fact that I can walk and run and climb and jump and all of the things that I can do with this body, for people to not appreciate and love the body that they have, that they were given, and all of its capabilities. Meanwhile, I've seen speakers on stage that have no legs, and actually I forget his name, but he has no legs and no arms. And it's
Nick,
like, there's
that Nick?
Yes,
Yeah.
I saw him live at a conference, and it's just hearing people like that, it's just really puts things in perspective and really makes you, have the love and the appreciation for yourself. And it does change the way you see other people, because now that you're saying this, when I was that way towards myself, I was so judgmental towards others. And now I don't remember the last time I looked at someone else and judged them for the way their soul suitcase looks. It's like everybody has their own beauty, and it's just so great to get to that point where you can see it that way.
Well, amen to that. And bravo to you for the work that you have done, and for extending this, your work, your mission, your voice into the world with your podcast. That's
Same
how we,
with your book,
well, thank you. Yeah. And I think that's what we do, right? And it doesn't, we don't have to wait until we're perfect, because that one never happened.
right?
In fact, it's that beautiful brokenness and relatability that inspires. So,
Yeah.
well, bravo to you. I love hearing that, because I think that's so beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, it's just it was that rock bottom,
Yeah.
that we talked about in the beginning. But yeah, and that's kind of why I did want to start this podcast is to because, for the other people who are at different stages or previous versions of myself. So these are the types of conversations that would have been very beneficial. And books like yours that, got me from where I was to where I am now. Speaking of, what's one thing that you wish you knew sooner on your path? If you could go back and tell a previous version of yourself, what would that be?
I'm going to say, first of all, I really try to, at this point, appreciate where I am and my journey so far, and not have regrets. I know that, I've learned along the way with everything. So for me, I try not to think of what I could have done better or wish I knew. However, I I wish I would have known, I don't know, maybe how to listen better with when I had my kids. I know I was doing, I mean, my kids, I still have two daughters, and 28 in a little bit, and 24. And, I know I think I did my best. I do believe that. And I don't go back and punish myself for what I didn't know. But I think parenting is a hard thing. And I think I would have loved to have some more tools. I think probably most parents would say that. I don't know. Because when we are in process of learning and growing and becoming and undoing, stuff that isn't productive, and our barriers, and there can be a lot of triggers to past hurts and issues, and so I think when you're a parent, they kind of come up, and
Mm.
because it's hard. It's hard being a parent. But I don't go back with regret. I guess I wish I knew that then. But this is what I will say to that. I have learned that that's what grandparents are for.
Mm.
That grandparents, the idea, I believe, like the divine, design of it, is that parents are in the trenches, and it's hard. It's a taxing thing. It's a growing time. It's wonderful. But I think when you're a grandparent, you just know so much more, and you have more patience, and all that you learn when you're a parent and you survive, and you went, oh yeah, it's going to be okay. And so you just have a different grandparent perspective. So everything is used. Everything is used. So I will be able to offer that now. I don't have grandkids yet, but when it's time. And so I'm not going to have regrets about it. I'll just use it with my older years wisdom.
Well, I don't have children yet, but that will be helpful to know when I do. Not that you can ever really fully be ready, is what I hear.
Yeah. No, and that's okay.
Yeah.
We say yes to a lot of things that we have no idea what we're saying yes to.
Yeah.
And that's okay. That's the adventure, right? That's the
Mhm.
ride. I do want to just make a comment about what you were talking about, hitting your rock bottom. And I think what's beautiful, as you were talking about, is that we experience things or rock bottom, because we don't know different. And those, whatever the rock bottom is, and it could just be an incident, it could be a pain, it could be whatever. But once we come into this place of awareness, then that gives us choice to do something different. It has to start with awareness. So we go, oh, there's a different way to do this. Okay, then we can learn. But the point is that you are using everything you experienced in service. And this is, again, the beauty of it. So wherever one has to be in their life to kind of to come into an awareness to actually make changes, body, mind, or spirit, there's an opportunity to serve in that through inspiration, through modeling, through the love that you say that you have for yourself, and you extend out, and to show up differently in the world. And that is how we serve. And none of those experiences are wasted. Our compassion grows, our love for people and their struggles grow. So and that's the beauty of all those, the pains and the growing that we do. It's kind of like the beauty from ashes, right? So it
Yeah.
can be used.
Yeah. What I would probably have told myself is to not suppress those emotions, not to try to numb myself, whether it was by watching something or eating something or, drinking, whatever it may have been, actually letting myself feel whatever I was feeling, knowing that, you have to eventually. It's going to stay in the body and it has to come out. So the only way out is through. And yeah, if I could, that would be my message in this moment. If you're trying to not feel something, it's better to feel it sooner than later.
Yeah, that's really good. That's really good. I think you just spoke to somebody right now. You spoke to me.
Oh, wonderful.
That stuff does get stuck in our body, and to give ourselves permission to release this, both physically, the somatic body, getting unstuck, and also our emotional and psychological body. So yeah, that was good.
Yeah, there's so many tools now available to us through the internet that we can find, to move it through us, whether that is somatic practices or like EFT tapping, journaling, whatever it might be. And we can ask ourselves, how can I work through this? If you really don't know and you're lost, even with the gear program, if you're stuck and you have a barrier, you can sit in silence and ask yourself, how can I get unstuck? What should be my next step or my first step? And you'll get an answer. If you're quiet and you're still, you'll get the answer that you need.
Absolutely. What a great tool to just to mention. That's right. Ask.
Yeah. And then use the gear program. It's perfect. Before I let you go, where can people find more from you?
I have my website, Kathleen Klug. It's klug.com. And then also, and I have my coaching programs. I do online coaching. I have an e-course, and also KathleenKlugBook.com, which is, I have those resources that people can find, and the book, and I think that's where the e-course is. And so, yeah, and I'm also on Instagram, Kathleen Klug Health. So yeah, I'm my mission, and I know that we are, all workers in the field, and it does take a village to get this message out, is to bring hope for people who are ready and willing to, get healthy. There is hope. They can do this, and they may not believe that, but we can believe it for them until they believe it.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So good. And all of those links will be in the show notes, of course. I have one final question for you,
Hmm?
which is, what is your number one health tip? Whether it's mindset, diet and nutrition, physical, emotional, just the one piece of advice you would like everyone to know.
Yes. If somebody is not moving their body right now and they don't know where to start, I say walk. Walk. Of course, if they are, they can do different things. I would then say do strength training for sure, a strength training. But walking is such a beautiful place to start with something, and it's accessible for most of us. And there's even walking YouTube videos. So go there, there you go. You can walk in your living room. But there is something about getting outside, preferably in the morning, getting some light in your eyes. It's nice, it helps with the rhythms of your body, uh, and walking. I think it's magical, honestly. If it's like one of the magic pills is morning walks. And if it's for 5 minutes, then it's for 5 minutes.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you don't need to go from not moving to walking with a 20-pound vest like Kathleen. I'm not quite there yet.
Yeah. And you know what? I do. I love my vest. I used to run and I don't run anymore. And so I
Mm.
was doing a lot of walking and I thought, I think I'm gonna, get a little bit more bang for my buck. And so I got a weighted vest. Yeah.
That is actually a really good idea because I used to run and now I go on 2 to 3 walks a day. But yeah, I mean, where are you in the world? Because I'm in Florida. I don't know if it would be a bit hot.
Right. Well, California.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. But the mornings are wonderful. This is again, that's what I walk every day. And so I love my mornings. It's a meditative time for me. It's a prayerful time for me. I hear the birds. It's like nature is singing, and I don't care if it's raining, it doesn't really matter. It's even if I don't have a lot of time, I have a short route and I have a long route, but just to do it, it's like the start of my day. So even a 10-minute walk can change your whole day.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, it really does. I definitely feel it when I don't do it. So,
yeah, yeah.
well, thank you so much, Kathleen. It's been an absolute pleasure. Make sure you check out the show notes to find everything about starting with one. If you like this episode, come back next week for another one with another amazing guest and have a wonderful day.